Second Peter 1:3-4, the Message translation. It says, everything that goes into a life of pleasing God has been miraculously given to us by getting to know personally and intimately the one who invited us to God. Wait a minute. Everything that goes into a life of pleasing God has already been miraculously given to us by getting to know personally and intimately the one who invited us to God. The best invitation we've ever received. We were also given an absolutely terrific promises to pass on to you. Your tickets to participation in the life of God after you turn your back on the world corrupted by lust. I want to talk about, just for a few moments, work yourself out of this rut. Work yourself out of this rut. Be seated in the presence of God. We live in an age where we are constantly on a chase to find out what we should be doing, where we should be. The truth of the matter is, there's all kinds of books and manuals that are supposed to help you discover your purpose. Books on positive thinking. Books on the law of reciprocity. Books on manifesting your own thoughts. But I need you to know you were made in the image of God. God, the creator of the entire universe, the omniscient, the omnipresent, the omnipotent God created you. But can I tell you, before you were created, everything that you ever needed was already here. Your purpose is why you were created. In other words, God didn't wait until a situation was happening to create you. He created you before the situation. Let me say it to you like this. You were created for the times God would need you most. Tell your neighbor, I'm here to make impact. If you find your God, if you ever find your God, you'll find your purpose. You find your purpose, you'll find your power. Find your power, you'll find your prosperity. And I realize more than ever that when destiny calls, there is an internal drive, a seek and a find that wakens in you. I'm going to say it again. You were predestined. Before your mama met your daddy, he already foreknew you. Which means God has taken it. This might be a praise break right here Monday. Before God created you and before you walked this thing called life, he took into account every blooper you would ever have. You ought to, you ought to thank God that he's not intimidated by your mistake. No, he didn't change his mind because you messed up. That's when the scripture comes into play. And his grace. Because tell your neighbor, the wages of sin is death, but the gift of God, the truth of the matter is, when you messed up, you deserve to die, but grace covered you. You ought to thank God for grace. It's not a sin to mess up, but it's in case you mess up, he got you until you come back to your crazy self. Tell your neighbor, thank God he didn't kill me when he had a chance to. Thank God he didn't kill me when I was all the way out there. Some of y'all gave God a partial clap. You gave him a mamsy-pamsy celebratory praise. But I wish I had some people in this room right now that could just whisper to your neighbor and say, neighbor, I used to be a mess. You didn't even know some of the stuff that I did. But thanks be unto God who gives us the Mosiah, the victory. You ought to thank him for the stuff he covered you from. All right, I'm going to leave it alone. You don't even know all of my testimony. You wouldn't know unless I told you. Because God made sure the residue of my past was not. You didn't know I was a clubber. You didn't know I was a gambler. You didn't know I was a freak. You didn't know I was a thief. You didn't know I was a smoker. But somebody say, thank God for his grace. Some of y'all still sitting there looking like you're looking. But I know it was the blood. Leave it alone. I know it was the blood. April, I know it was the blood for me. One day when I was lost, he died upon the cross. And I know it was the blood for me. When you walk it into destiny, some wake up in you. Don't nobody have to tell you to pray. Don't nobody have to tell you to talk to God. Don't nobody have to tell you to worship him. Don't nobody have to tell you to read. Because there's something in you that say there's more of God that I want. My God, now unto him that's able to do exceeding abundantly above all that you could ask or think. People stop right there. But let me tell you something. The power, it says according to the power. Tell your neighbor it's something in my belly that's seeking after something I don't see. No, I'm not satisfied until dead people get up. I'm not satisfied till I lay hands on the deaf and their ears instantly open. I know there's more. I do recognize, Santiago, that your ability is attached to the tools that God is giving you to get the job done. Tell your neighbor, God gave me tools. Now, if I could go back, I feel like screaming. Vita, the Bible says, in the beginning, God created man. But then as we get into the second and third chapters of Genesis, it says it's not good that man would be alone, Jerry. So he says he's going to create woman. But he said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull what you need out of you. Some of y'all are in a rut because you don't realize what God put in you. Y'all ain't saying nothing. He didn't have to go find something else, somebody else. He said, I'm going to take a portion of you to create the wow of you. Tell your neighbor, it's not just a woman, but it's a wow, man. I just come to prophesy right through here and tell you this next season is going to make you say, wow. Tell your neighbor this is going to be a wow moment. He's going to do a wow in my life. He's going to surpass what my family said. He's going to surpass the history in my generation. I just wish I had somebody that shout wow. God, I love you. God, I love you. God, I love you. God, I love you. I love you. God, I love you. God, I love you. God, I love you. God, I love you. Wait a minute. So he's not creating nothing new. What he needs for me to succeed is already here. It's up to me to wake up to what he's put in me. That's how come it's not my will, your will be done. Because if I follow my own path, I'll never find what he put in me. And some of y'all don't realize the power you really have. Tell your neighbor that's why he had to take you through what he took you through. If you don't know nothing else, I just wish I had 50 people in here to shout, if I don't know nothing else, I I am a survivor. All my life, I've had to fight. Yeah. Others have died with what you had. They died with what you've gone through. You got classmates that didn't make it out, but you made it. You made it on a half of a ham hock and a fourth of a quarter of beans. You made it through rape and molestation. You made it through foreclosure and repossession. You made it through divorce and embarrassment. You made. Tell your neighbor, I'm a survivor. It's not a worldly church, but tell your neighbor, keep on surviving. I'm not going to give up. I'm not. Y'all don't know, I'm out of there. No, I rebuke that devil. But just tell your neighbor, I am a living testimony. So a rut is defined as a habit or pattern of behavior that has become dull or unproductive. A rut is defined as something hard to change. It's also an obstacle in your life keeping you from experiencing God and growing into all that He has for you and through you. Ruts are getting stuck in places and not growing, not thriving, not living, not experiencing the life God has for us. Is there anybody in here that say, I've got stuck in some places that I stopped living, just existing? No, shy. And see, you got to watch out for people in this season that want to be connected to you and want to be in relationship with you, but they want to dummy down who you are. I just want to talk to 30 single people in this room that when you're dating, because dating is data collection, when you're dating and they tell you, I don't do that God thing. I know I respect what you do, but I ain't into it like you. That's a red flag. Run. No, that's not a carnival. It's not time to play games because we already don't have something in common. You got to watch folk that be like, well, you think you can do that? You sure? I know other folks that started their business and they didn't make it. You got to watch people that will try to diminish who you are because of their past experiences or their inability to receive and believe that you're going to succeed beyond their own limitation. See, some people don't want you to make it because they ain't made it. And you making them shows up that they ain't, what y'all ain't saying nothing. Tell your neighbor, I'm never going to dumb down who I am. Y'all no more shy. God created me to create. Y'all ain't talking to me. It's in me to be a successful person. Y'all ain't talking. I wish I had somebody to say, I'm not getting ready to dumb down who I am to satisfy you. So if my passion, my push, and my grit upsets you, get away from me. Here it is. As I get hurried to my close, tell your neighbor you got to work your way out this rut. So this year, as we come into 2025, on the Gregorian calendar, you're going to have to fight your way out of this stuck place. Some of y'all, we can tell, we can look at you and you just got a blah on your face. You just go to work. You just wake up in the morning. You just come to church. Y'all ain't saying, you just on this autopilot. But I come, if you've ever put your car on cruise control, it just stay at the same speed. It don't matter how fast or slow the vehicles are in front of you or around you, it stays at the same speed. And sometimes you got to slow down because the car in front of you is going slow, or you got to go around, or you have to speed up. Otherwise, you lose the ability to keep up. But if you ever want to come out of cruise control, you got to hit the brake to reset or to break the momentum. Well, I come as a prophet in your life today to hit the brake. to say you've been on cruise control too long. And it's okay, because I was there about 2.5 years ago that I was simply just flying, and whatever happened, happened. The old folks say, que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. And that's how I was living life. God, if it works, it works. If it don't, it don't. If it happened, it happened. If it don't, y'all ain't saying. But the devil is a liar. God puts me in control of certain things in my life, and I refuse, y'all ain't saying nothing, just to ride this thing out called life, lackadaisical, procrastinate, allowing a case of rah spirit. I wake up the hustler in you. I wake up the woman. I wake up the man that will seek ye first. I wake up the prayer warrior in you. I wake up the business owner in you. I wake up the executive in you. I wake up the director in you. What are you doing? I hit the brake. Tell your neighbor, break your way out the rut. Sing your way out the rut. Sow your way out the rut. Write your way out the rut. Preach your way out the rut. Prophesy your way out the rut. No, I'm getting ready to make everybody in my circle mad, because I'm not comfortable with where I am. There's more. There's more. There's more. Come on, Rich told me. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. I'm alive. And this is not an accident. I'm alive because there's more. Hit your neighbor and say, come out of the rut. Oh, y'all don't want to come out the rut. Just push your neighbor, say, you've been comfortable too long. You're going through postpartum depression. You're dealing with PTSD. You're dealing with anxiety and stress. But I hit the brake in your life, and I say, pick up the speed. Pick up your momentum. Accelerate. Hit the curb. Okay. All right. So some of y'all are really comfortable. Here we are in Deuteronomy 1. I'm done, Lady Mickles. I'm done. But during this portion of the Bible in Deuteronomy 1, the Israelites had been in the wilderness, mother, for 40 years. They're located east of the Jordan River and poised to enter the promised land on the other side of the Jordan River. Wait a minute, Stephen. They're going around in circles in the middle of where they're supposed to be. The east of the Jordan on this side, the promised land on the other side. Tell your neighbor, you've come too far to quit now. No. Moses begins Deuteronomy looking back, doing a review of where they had come from and all that they went through. It's time to take the promised land, he says. It's time to follow God out of this 40-year rut. And see, a lot of times people will take perseverance as success. They walked in circles 40 years. Their clothes, we never see an account where they outgrew their clothes. Their shoes were worn. They're walking in circles. I told you this before. As they're going around in circles, come on, Deuteronomy 2, you've gone around this mountain long enough. Nobody in the crew says, we just passed this plant. We just passed that rock. Now, hold on, wait a minute. Because what happens is the devil will keep you in a rut for so long that you stop paying attention to your surroundings. That you become numb to the trauma. Wait a minute. You get comfortable being a failure. Some people get comfortable to being toxic. And when toxicity is removed, they think something is wrong. Yeah, you know you got that one toxic friend that y'all start off toxic. End up the conversation toxic. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I'm done with you. Okay, y'all ain't never been with One person, I'm done. But then for the night over, you at their house, where you been? Why you ain't called me back? I thought we was done. You see, because you're married to toxicity. It's the very thing that the Bible says, I desire to do good, but evil is always present. You're right here, right now, making up your mind who you're going to leave alone, but you get out of church, and before you can pull off good, that same person dials your number that hadn't dialed you all week, but as soon as you made up your mind, okay, that don't work, okay. You ever got somebody out your system finally, and you bump into them at the gas station. You run into them at the gas station. You see them at the grocery store. You say hello at the mall. Like, I ain't seeing you in the, y'all ain't saying nothing. Have you ever been in that place that as soon as you got them out of your mind, will, and emotion, you bump into, no more shy, because some of you all are comfortable with traumatic situations, but I come to prophesy to you today that you got to work your way out the rut. Tell your neighbor, I prayed and cried with you in my life, so I'm going to pray and cry with, because some of y'all are afraid of what's new because it's uncomfortable. But tell your neighbor, if I got to pray and cry with you in my life, I might as well desensitize myself and get you all the way out my life, because I'm not going into this next season with baggage and drama and weight and so here they are, 40 years, Marcus, they walking in circles because they give a negative review of where God said they can have. Mary, you got to watch people that will negatively evaluate what God said you can have. If I would listen to some of my friends and more so family, if I would listen to my family, I wouldn't be traveling like I am now. You shouldn't be in the plane. It's dangerous. Folks are still coughing. It's sick. And they terrorists. You sure you supposed to be doing that? No, you got to get an inner knowing. Because this ain't just about being on a flyer. Janet, this is about changing people's lives. This is about jump starting the ecclesia. This is about, y'all ain't saying nothing. This is about jump starting God's church that says before he comes back, he's going to revive a remnant that will be able. This ain't just about preaching around, because I ain't got nothing better else to do. I'm a phenomenal accountant. Y'all ain't saying, I'm a phenomenal general manager. I understand the laws of human resources. What are you saying? I don't have to do this. I can leave this and still be successful. But when I grab a microphone, nervous and all, it's something that wakes up in me, that has the ability to wake something up in you to walk in what God called you to. I'm not comfortable walking in this 20 seconds. So those who didn't trust God to take the land, God had to let them die off first. I come with my second prophecy. Some of y'all have not walked into what God called you to because God's letting those that's not qualified to walk with you die off first. No. Some people are not qualified to walk into your promised place. So while they might not die literally, he's disconnecting. Oh, it hurts. Oh, it hurts. What hurts the most, key, is that people that don't like each other, when y'all disconnect, all of a sudden they become friends. You know why? Because you are the common denominator. But tell your neighbor, that still ain't gonna make me go back. If that's the best you can do is connect to somebody that I ain't studying, go for it. Because from this place I'm going north. Look, here we are in our text. I said, here we are in our text. I said, here we are in our text that God says, I've given you everything that you would need as it pertains, hold it Monday, to life and godliness. The King James says, I've given you all things that pertains to life and godliness through the knowledge of him that have called us to glory and virtue, whereby are given unto us an exceeding great and precious promise, that by these might ye be partakers of the divine nature. Everything that goes into a life pleasing God has been given to you by getting to know personally and intimately. Tell your neighbor, God took you through this last season so that you might know him. See, it's one thing to come to church because you know about God. But do you know him? No, his ways are not my ways. His thoughts, his thinking pattern is on a whole nother stratagem. So tell your neighbor, I had to go through this so I'll learn to know him personally and he had to let your heart be broken, not so you run from him, but so you'll run to him. And some of y'all ain't got it yet, that you keep allowing your heartbreak to make you backslide. But tell your neighbor it's something different when he break your heart and you say, Lord, I can't do nothing without you. Y'all ain't say, I just want to know more of. Y'all ain't say, I want to know your ways, your statutes, your virtue. No. Has your neighbor heard you cry out? Y'all are the Messiah. Has your spouse heard you crying out to the Lord? My wife disturbs me and she go in our little closet and and I roll over. It's 1:30. What are you doing? Y'all ain't 3:15. Oh God, I'm praying for my children now. Oh, she just told me, babe, I'm finna go on the fast. I ain't telling y'all how long. The church she come out of, baby, they secretive. Don't you tell nobody that what they did. All right. But she said, but y'all ain't said nothing, but it's nothing to wake up in the shower. It don't have, because when you got to know him personally and intimate, when everybody else let me down, he's the only one that was still around. Y'all ain't said nothing, because he put in me everything I needed concerning life and godliness. Y'all ain't said nothing. So tell your neighbor it's enough for me to succeed naturally and spiritually. Come on here, Romans 8:28. I'm out of here. Look at your neighbor, say, and we know. Hit your neighbor, say, all things. No, you didn't know that God takes your things that you perfected and your mistakes and allows them to be a part of the batter. No, okay. I'm gonna say that again. Your mistakes is part of your recipe, that you would become compassionate to people that fail in areas you fell short in. See, it's that fake hypocritical church thing that acts like you ain't never messed up like your neighbor messed up. Okay, well, they was addicted to crack. You was addicted to weed. Okay, they was addicted to crack. You was addicted to gambling. Okay, they was addicted to crack. You was addicted to liquor. Okay, they was addicted to crack. You was addicted to sex. Okay, they was addicted to crack. You was addicted to life. It's all addiction. No, you got folks hiding because they done had 3 miscarriages, but you had 6 abortions. See, that's that thing that won't look introspectively in you and see where you messed up. They got caught for burglary, but you've been lying on your taxes for decades. I'm going to leave it alone. Because how y'all up on me right now? But tell your neighbor what you do well and what you did wrong is a part of the cake batter. Oh, yeah, most shy. But the closer I come to him, the less the stuff that I did wrong comes out of me. Because the thing is, you ain't got no excuse in this house. You got to put your issue on this altar and say, God, if you don't help me, I'm going to hell. I'm done. Tell your neighbor, work yourself out of this rut. I empower you to leave this place and to utilize what God have already put in you to get yourself out of this non-productive, non-fruitful, non-moving place. The Lord said, I've given you everything you need. I've miraculously calculated everything you need to be successful. Before we come out of 2025, you got to come out of this procrastinated place. Tell your neighbor, come off of cruise control. We done hit the brake now. If you don't start going, you're going to cause there to be a backup on the highway. Because you're not keeping up with the rest of the traffic. You might not do it like they do it, but do what God told you to do. I'm going to say it again. God's not getting ready to create something else and bring it to you. He's getting ready to pull in you and pull out what you need. The question becomes, Nikki, what happens when he reaches in you and you're empty? There's nothing to pull out because you have not spent time with him. You're withdrawing on nothing. He reach in there and say, ain't no joy, ain't no peace, ain't no long suffering. There's no You've allowed your creativity to die. You've allowed your age to make you feel like you don't qualify. Cool. Come on, here, guy. Come here. The glory of your latter house is going to be greater than that of your former. The man of God told us he getting ready to make it up to us. Tell your neighbor he's not going to allow anything to be lost. Go on and cry. Go on and sob. Get it out of you so that you can move forward quickly. Ain't no more excuse. You holding yourself back because of what you did. Not because of what you're doing, because of what you did. The problem is when you're doing what you know you should not be doing. So you got to surround yourself with eagles that's going to provoke you to fly above your storm. And the problem is eagles can't hang with chickens. Eagles can't hang with pigeons. They too nasty. Eagles can't hang with parrots. They talk too much. Eagles can't hang with peacocks because they want to be seen. You need somebody that's going to make you come on up here. You too low still. You got to tell your neighbor. And my middle name, Ifama, could be P for petty. But you need some people that's going to help you stop being so petty. Keeping score, getting evil, getting even. Y'all ain't said nothing. Always got a joke, take nothing serious. Tell your neighbor you got to get that pettiness out of you. Lord, and something, Lord, help me not to be petty. I said, Lord, help me not to be petty. Because if you think I'm going to get caught in the rut of denominationalism because what God allowed, the stage he allowed me to grace 2 weeks ago, if you think that's all to me, you finna be mad as ever because that's just the beginning. Where I was 2 weeks ago is what God said 20 years ago. Y'all ain't saying, I'm just now walking into it because he had to humble me enough that you don't think that you're something. And so, wait a minute. Hit your neighbor and say, neighbor, I'm not going to be satisfied until there's resurrection power. All right. You have revival in you because the same power that raised Jesus Christ from the dead lives in you. Ephesians 1:19 and 20. Tell your neighbor the same power that raised Jesus from the dead is in you. God's love, life, power, they're all in you to give us life and victory. Tell your neighbor it's all in you. Tell your neighbor take your grave clothes off and walk in victory. No. It was Lazarus. Stephen, What good is it for me to come out the grave but still look like? Okay, I'm done. I just got to ask you, angel, why call me forth and I come forth looking like what I just came out of? Jesus says, Lazarus, I know you're breathing now, but you still got your old season on. And see what happens when your season changes, but it don't look like it or feel like it. Because some of y'all going to leave here today and it's going to feel like you're in the same place. But Cedric, you got to know that you know that even if it looks the same, it ain't the same. I need y'all to hit me one time when I tell you. I need you to look at your neighbor and just say, neighbor, loose me and let me go. I said, loose. Oh. No. Jesus said you came forth, but I can't command that last season to turn you loose. I command that rut to let you go. I command that season of repeat. The doors of the church are open. Come by Letter Christian Experience, a candidate for baptism. I'm not comfortable, Catrice, in the rut. Age, I'm not comfortable in the same cycle. It's something that says, Zion is calling me to a higher place of praise. I wish. Zion is calling me to a higher place of praise. I need you to come out of that place that got you on repeat, cycle, that rut. I told you earlier, cook your way out, sow your way out, create your way out, write your way out, preach your way out, prophesy your way out. Whatever you got to do, find yourself out of the rut, because I'm not going to be stuck with, I'm just sick of, I'm releasing myself from them kind of people. Negative Nancy's. No. That's you are where you were in 2008. You go back in your memories and look at 2018. Some of the folks in your memories look the same, act the same, in the same. You don't qualify to make it to my next place. You have been fired. If I saw these sons that follow me on the road, if they never come up without me having to tell them to come up, you don't qualify to go with where I'm going. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Marcus at 1 and 2 in the morning. Boom, 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 boom. I'm talking about the bass guitar is so loud, my ears is. I got up last night because I'm like, somebody done broke up in this house. And I walk in this room, I'm like, Doc, it's 2 o'clock. Elijah slapping on the keyboard somewhere. Y'all ain't saying nothing on this green screen. Recording at 3 in the morning. I'm like, it's squirrels done broke in here. I told Lady Mickles, I said, you hear that? And Elijah, it got to be a drive in you that say what you see now is not all to me. I know y'all celebrate where I am, but this ain't it. I said this ain't. I'm not defined by this little storefront, but I'm not desperate either. That you're not getting ready to sell us a building for $1.8 million that need $963,000 worth of work. Grace, have you ever gone to the car lot and you need a car, but you got a car? I rolled up in one. It ride, it drive. I want something different. So when you roll up on the lot, the car salesman, Karen, can't make me get what I don't want. I came for a Mercedes. You're not getting ready to give me a Chevy Nova. I'm not leaving out of here in no little car that seat two people. Unless that's what I want. Because I came with a car. It's different when you ain't got no car. So you feel like you got to settle. But tell your neighbor, I ain't got to settle. I wish some of y'all get that with a relationship. You ain't got to settle. You've been by yourself this long. Get your tail in a hot water bath and buy you a jacuzzi bubble and put it behind you if you need to and ride the wave. But tell your neighbor, I ain't settling. I just helped three women right there. You ought to, I said, hey, hiya, oh my shot. I'm trying to tell your neighbor, I ain't finna settle. Look at Angie like, I don't know what you talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Tell your neighbor, I ain't settling. I'm not taking no job. I got a job. Why would I leave a job that's paying me $18 for a job paying me $18.25? It ain't even worth me trying to prove myself again. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. In no area of my life, I'm not selling.